Hey guys! So, Dion here, Paddlin Magazine. We are in front of Carl's Paddlin here in Lone Rock, Wisconsin. You might be asking me, hey, aren't you the organic producer guy? Well, yes, actually I am. We also have another publication called Paddlin Magazine, and what we deal with is sustainable water sports. So that's how I found myself here. If you take a look behind me, this is the new shop. What we're here to do tonight is we're going to be taking a look at some new things that Carl is doing in this area, and it's actually very fascinating stuff. So I'm going to walk in here, and we're going to go check out and see what Carl is up to. Okay, guys? Talk to you. Okay, guys, so we're just going to walk in here real quick. Now, tonight, what we're going to be looking at more in particular is what they call Kevlar Skid Plate coating. And it's when they put, come on in. It's when they actually put a piece of Kevlar strip on the back end, on the front of the boat. And today we're going to be talking with Carl Busjahn, and he's going to be explaining to us and showing us this complete process. So we'll talk to you guys here in a little bit. Okay, bye.
Okay, what we've done here is cut a couple of pieces of the Kevlar felt, pretty much custom for this boat. So, because we've got a laminate boat, it's got narrow water entries, nice fine lines, and we want to keep them that way. So we don't want a big, wide, whitewater type skid plate on there. So we've got a nice narrow one cut here, and the felt that we're working with has a tapered edge to it on one side, and I'm cutting just from the one side here to get my long pieces, which gives me one piece with a tapered edge here and one piece that doesn't have such a tapered edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the piece with the not so tapered edge up on the front, because when you hit something, a rock or something at the front, it's not going to be catching that sharper edge as it slides back to the back.
I see.
And then when we're going to put the one with the tapered edge on the back, because this is the first part of this skid plate that's going to come into contact with the rock, and since it's nice and tapered out, it won't have a tendency to want to peel the skid plate off the boat.
All right. Okay. So I would imagine part of this process here that you're doing now is you're just sort of dry fitting it, or?
Yeah, more or less. I just want to make sure that I've got enough masked off. Now, once I wet this out with resin, it's going to become a little bit more stretchy, so it's going to get a little bit longer than it is right now, which is why I left an extra inch on this end to lay it back that way.
Why? Okay.
And so I'll be, and this will get a little bit narrower as it stretches out.
I see.
And then it'll follow the lines of the boat a little bit.
Now, do they sell different thicknesses of this type of Kevlar, or is this pretty much the size, the thickness that you like to use?
This is what I like to use. I bought it specifically for this purpose.
Okay.
I would imagine there are probably a bunch of other uses that people use it for that would warrant thicker pieces or thinner pieces.
But as far as you've seen, sufficiently this thickness of Kevlar is adequate for the type of boating around here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the area that I'm going to be putting the skid plate on masked off here, so I don't get big resin runs down the canoe. And this is a nice canoe to work with because it has a defined center line, so it was easy to center where the skid plate is going to go. With the more rounded hull, it makes it more difficult. And what I'm going to be doing now is the areas that John hasn't already sanded off for me with using the boat, I'm just going to rough up the surface so that any place where I've got a shiny spot yet on the surface where it's really smooth,
right,
I'm going to rough that up a little bit so the resin gets a good physical bond to the boat.
Okay. So Carl, would you say then it's really just getting it rough, like you said, so that the resin will form a better bond?
Yeah,
okay.
A bond with this green resin that's here, that's actually a gel coat layer, which is basically pigmented resin that they put into the mold before they build the main part of the laminate.
Very cool. Okay. Okay, great.
Okay, now we're almost ready to start applying the skid plates. You want to put on your gloves so you're protected from your skin, because all of us will eventually become sensitized to epoxy, and some of us faster than others, and gloves will help us to not do that. And then I've got the mask, and if you've got long hair, you want to tie that back as well, because you don't want that in the resin, and you don't want the resin in your hair.
Right.
So what we're going to do is, we've got the skid plate laid out on a piece of cardboard here, and we're going to mix up our resin, and then we're going to brush a little bit of the resin on the cardboard, and then we're going to put the Kevlar felt down into the resin that's on the cardboard, and we're going to finish wetting out the skid plate with the rest of the resin, and then we're just going to pick up the skid plate and place it on the boat.
Okay, wow, great. All right.
Mix it well and read the instructions on your cans. They'll tell you what temperatures you want to be working at, and we'll usually give you a working time on the can of resin, because the resin will set up a lot faster if it's warmer.
Okay.
And just gonna put that there. And I have here just a cheap chip paintbrush that I've cut off the major part of it, so I got these nice short stiff bristles, and that's what I'm going to use there. Okay, so I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to brush. Goes in there.
And is this just to hold it in place?
Well, it's to start wetting it from the bottom side as well.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so there's that. And let's place the skid plate right in there. Pour some resin down the top side of it.
All right. So looks like you got it pretty well saturated.
Yep.
Wow, look at that. Yeah.
And now we're going to put it on.
And
And now we see that I misestimated how much it was going to stretch. As a former president is famous as saying, I misunderestimated.
oh, look at that.
And then this is going to be a process of just brushing the surface out and working out, because as the resin starts setting up,
Sure.
it develops bubbles underneath,
Okay.
and it's worth taking the time to push them out.
Because like you said, you've got a window of about 20 minutes, right, before this starts to harden.
Yep. And different hardeners have different set times, and if you buy a skid plate kit, make sure you read the instructions carefully so you know approximately how much time you've got to work with. I'm basically in the process of working bubbles out as I do this. And I was brushing it all that direction, but this is actually the back of the boat.
Right.
So brushing it this direction does make more sense. So.
Yeah, and so what we're doing here now is, again, you're putting the the plastic wrap onto it.
Yeah.
And what does this do?
What that will do is it will give us a nicer finish to the surface. It'll be smoother. The Kevlar felt tends to have little fibers poking up and out of it, and by putting the plastic wrap over it and smoothing it out, we can smooth that out and give it a nicer appearance, and at least theoretically a little less drag in the water.
Okay, sure.
And once I've got the wrap on there, I can work without the gloves, because now I've got a barrier between me and the resin.
Very nice.
And with this on here, it's nice because I can see through it to see where bubbles are forming. And I can also I can also feel where bubbles are forming. And I just kind of work those out to the side and let them escape. And at this point, the warmth of my hands will also kind of speed up the process just a little bit.
And as all the viewers can see, that Carl also used to be a hand model. Very, very beautiful hands you got there, Carl. Very beautiful, very well trimmed, very nice.
Those are Costanza hands.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
So would you see that part of this process, as you had said, working out the bubbles, you're able to, because you're using your hands with the wrap on there, are you also able to get a better adhesion because those bubbles are being worked out?
Right.
I see.
Any place where you've got an air gap in there, it's just not going to be anywhere near as strong.
Yeah, right.
And it's now the next day, and we've allowed the resin to set up good and solid. And now we have the opportunity to simply peel off.
Wow, look at that.
The plastic wrap.
Wow.
And gives us a nice, smoother, much more smooth surface than what we would have if we hadn't put the plastic wrap over it.
Right.
And now we can see that we've got a little bit of ridges in the resin where the plastic wrap folded just a little bit, and we've got some resins kind of over the edge of the tape, and so we'll carefully remove the masking tape, and we will try not to peel off any of the resin that's stuck to the canoe. So what we'll do is we'll end up take a razor knife and just cut along the edge here, and we'll carefully remove the tape without peeling off the resin that's stuck to the canoe. And there we go. We've got some of it sticking there, and we'll just take our time and gradually remove that, and where we've got little ridges of resin sticking up, we'll kind of sand off the ridges just a little bit, and then we'll have a very nicely applied skid plate.